Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Hari Om to everybody. Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om. Pranam, Pranam, Pranam. Hari Om, Hari Om. Sloka number 14 of chapter number 2, somebody had suggested. Matra sparshastu kaunteya Shitoshna sukha dukkada Agamapayino nityaha Tamsi dikshasva bharata. The first phrase is matra sparsha. Sparsha means touch. Matra means sensory objects. When we touch a sensory object, then our sensory system comes in touch with the sensory object. The word matra is associated with the word measure, ma. To measure. This is a wonderful word. That day our nuclear scientist Raja Ramanna spoke on the subject of mind and matter, nature and mind. There he used the word ma, measure. And this concerned the science of measurement. Here mathematics comes in. All material or physical sciences are subject to measurement. But when you go beyond the physical dimension of nature of the human being, no measurement is possible. Up to the sensory level, we can have measurement. Think whether love can be measured. So that itself shows, it is beyond the sensory level. But when you go beyond the physical dimension of nature and the human being, no measurement is possible. Up to the sensory level, we can have measurement. So the word matra comes from this idea of measurement. This sensory system measures that object. That is how we come in touch with the world. Contact with sense objects, what happens to you thereby? Sometimes it will give you sensation of cold, sometimes of heat, sometimes of pleasure, sometimes of pain. That is the nature of such contact. Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkada. But they are again agama payino, they come and go. They don't persist. Anityam. So how shall we react to them properly? Bear with them. What cannot be cured must be endured. You fall ill, you go to the doctor, doctor will treat you, there is science about it. Cooperate with the doctor by the tremendous determination. Bear with it as long as it is there. Tan titikshasva, bear with them. It develops strength of mind. Try to remove them as far as you can by treatment. What you cannot cure, bear with them. The capacity is to bear with these things is a tremendous capacity. We can see that capacity to bear pain and other experience in very relative to human beings. Somebody has more of it, somebody has less of it. The threshold of pain, we call it in neural language, is different in different people. Some people can stand a good deal of pain. Some people cannot even stand a small one, even a little bit of it. So he repeats here the same and same idea. If you can bear a little, probably things would be a better little later. When you swim in the ocean, the waves come and buffet you, dash against you. And the waves come, duck underneath and it goes away. You come up again. That is why to deal with the wave. They come and go, they are not always there. So you can always have the capacity developed to swim against the waves by this method. So this concept of tan titikshasva, bear with them because they are anitya, they are not always there. A little patience can bring about great changes. When we are weak-minded, the first onslaught of an unhappy situation makes us broken down. The very first onslaught. That shows weakness. If a little strength is there, one can say, I shall stand it, I shall overcome it. That is called tremendous faith in oneself, Atma Shraddha. Sri Krishna wants all of us to develop the Atma Shraddha. I shall overcome. One of the national songs of American, we shall overcome, we shall. That spirit must be there. Titiksha is a great word in Sanskrit. Sahanam sarvaduktanam. The bearing of all suffering without anxiety and weeping and without the intention to react is called titiksha. So in this 14th chapter, second chapter, 14th shloka, this now looks to be very, very important shloka. We must develop this titiksha. It is not a big thing. Though it looks to be difficult. Bearing the pain, bearing the onslaughts. When we look at the mother, especially up to 4 or 5 or 6 years, the children keep on doing something, because their priority is different, and mother has to look after the whole household. But does she also make a big fuss? She will somehow pacify the son or the child, again go back to the work, again they will be called, again she goes up. Have you noticed? Nowadays, when the mother comes with a small child, must be about 3 or 4 or 5 years old, hyperactivity. The child will not allow the mother to sit and hear something, even when they come to our room. But we used to observe how mothers take it. They don't jump at, they don't curse, they don't make a big fuss about it. They will pacify the child, take it away for some time and come back again. Think. So when the love is there, The capacity to bear everything also comes there, is it not? Think about it. Absence of love means every moment there is an irritation. So when we start trying, that is why Papa used to always say, go to the source, go to the source, go to the source. Because by going to the source only, we try to identify the common denominator in our creation. Only by understanding intellectually the common denominator, our love will start expanding. Think about it. Something should be there in common, then only the love will be there. All these things will become clear to us only when we look out the daily life, At home, in the field, as well as with friends. How do we develop this? Titiksha. The moment somebody says, we get immediately affected. So there are 2-3 dimensions, not merely what we have said. By practicing, as he said the other day, suppose you are soaking your clothes in a bucket, soap water. First you put soap powder, open the tap which brings out the hot water. You start stirring it with your hand. Initially, you will find it is very hot, but later on, you will not take it out. The body gets adjusted with the temperature. Previously, when mothers were cooking in the oven, they will straight away take it by hand. It will be hot. But they have developed this capacity to bear by practice. And mind always says it is very hot, so it is not a surprise to them. So there could be umpteen number of ways by which this titiksha can be developed. Because whatever we see, Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, they are anitya, they come and go. So whenever my sense organs are in touch with sense objects, these pairs of opposites are likely to be there. But if I develop titiksha, the capacity to bear, I will not be tossed hither and thither. This is the message. So titiksha is a great word. Sri Krishna wants all of us to develop that Atma Shraddha, I shall overcome. If a little strength is there, I shall withstand it, I shall overcome. When we are weak-minded, the first onslaught of an unhappy situation makes us broken down. So when every day morning when we do this soaking the water, so many teachings come out, First is regular practice. Second is, you are not, the water is warm. It is not a surprise to you. So the moment you see when you open the tap, hot water comes. So mind is all prepared. If without knowing, suppose you open and put your hand, you get upset. So what does it mean? All these things will happen to all of us, every day. Absent-mindedly, suppose you open the hot water tap and suddenly you feel, it is too hot. But when you open it with the knowledge that it is hot water tap, and if you just want to see how, whether it is bearable, unbearable, lukewarm, you will be able to feel it. No? So then we take it that the mind, when the mind is conditioned with that, to some extent, the tidiksha also develops. When somebody prepares a curry of bitter gourd, if we don't know that it is bitter gourd, and if we are talking to somebody and if you are taking sweet, suddenly this goes, you will feel like spitting. Then later on, bitter gourd cannot be sweet. Suppose you know it's a bitter gourd, the mind is already conditioned, it is bitter. So the capacity to bear. Like that, we try to analyze and try to find and this bitterness will go, it is not nitya, anitya. Immediately if I take something sweet or spicy, it goes. Agama payino nitya, anitya, stam siddhikshasva bharata. So in this 14th sloka, he says, you get over this. You try to train something by which you get over this obsession. It is the nature of the sense organs to react under these 4 or 5 categories. Sukha, dukkha, shita, ushna, matra, sparshastu, kaunteya, shita, ushna, sukha, dukkhata, agama, payinu, nitya, tam, sthiti, kshasva, bharata. So in Quest of God we found, whether Papa is not walking with a sandal or a chappal. So we find when we go through that, yes, it is possible for him. There is no grumbling or complaint or anything like that. Somebody looks at it and they find they somehow will not permit him that, what is his name? Jansi? Jansi. When he went to Jansi, you remember, he was in rag.
From Madhav.
Not mother. The person who took him,
Ram Kinkar. Not Ram Kinkar, that another person, Mahadev Prasad.
It should come from them, Mahadev Prasad. So Mahadev Prasad had no idea about Papa, okay? He was a rice merchant or something. So in his godown, he saw Papa walking and he called, Maharaj, you come in. And then he was offered these jute bags or something to sit. He did not sit. Then he took him home. Then he said, you are in such a bad shape. Legs are swollen. You remember? And then he was treating. Papa did not complain. Papa did not say, I want to take rest for it. He did not allow him to go from there for the 1 or 2 months. So how did he develop? So we can surmise 2 or 3. One is that he was...
He was given asan, but he sat on a belly bag. He was given asan.
That is right. How was he? The tidiksha aspect. He did not say anything, but we are now attributing so many things. To him, though it was there, the pain must have been there, the discomfort would have been there, but he was able to bear them. Because he knows when you walk without any chappal on this road, naturally it will subject to give him all this. So there is no surprise, the mind is getting conditioned about it. And his ideal was something more. So the pain is there, discomfort is there, but it is not overwhelming. Think about it. How we can develop. Papa could do that, okay. because he was very clear about the purpose of all these things. Many things you get it only through when you actually practice something. You go with chapel. You go with chapel in the month of May, at least for 10 minutes on a tar road. 10 minutes for a tar road. Then we will try to learn every day 10 minutes I will walk without chapel. Then you will find mysteriously you get the capacity to bear. First day you say, the moment you think I can't. But suppose the will is there, you will find that the body adjusts along with it and you will be able to bear. Everything. So it depends upon the commitment, the will. And when it goes beyond certain circumstances, the body will not permit us to move. At that time we take rest, we put our leg in the salt water, which is lukewarm, and do something. So 10 minutes you try, whichever that is not possible, without informing anybody, without tom-tomming, without anybody knowing, we can try to practice all these things. It is not a big thing. But it is a big thing for us because we have not practiced, we have only learned. We go through the sloga and know the meaning, It should come right from our experience.
Ayyappa Bhaktas walk on fire, Swami. No, Ayyappa Bhaktas walk on fire, we have said.
They walk on the embers, red hot embers in the villages.
So when we train our mind, every day, suppose we do that, we have seen so many things, they out of practice they do this. Even there is a cut in the body. Somebody who may make a big fuss about it. Somebody will immediately, especially in Wayanad we have seen, immediately they will go take some herbs or the leaves and then they put it there. That's all, nothing. And they will hold like this, the blood stops, they carry on with it. That means the endurance capacity is inherent in all of us, that has to be tapped and kindled in us. When God gave us this body, don't think it is given only to a few people to endure or not to endure. It is given everybody to capacity to endure it to a very great extent. I won't say 100%, to a very great extent. And this has to be touched and kindled in us. That is what Sri Krishna here, Lord Krishna says here. Tamsti Dikshasva Bharata. You develop that capacity to endure. Another version we have heard that God will give us only such tests which we can bear. If we have that faith, it will automatically come. A sudden bereavement in the family, unexpected. Initially the shock, unbearable shock. Somebody cannot bear, but somebody has, as we have seen, they were able to bear it. So then, when we try to closely observe, what we find is, it all depends upon God has given the capacity to endure. This titiksha swabhava is given to us in everybody, and then it is up to us to touch and kindle and make use of it. Not that the pain will not be there. We are talking about endurance. You will be able to bear the pain. So that is what Lord Krishna in the second chapter through Arjuna talks to us. Try to develop this. A thing which is very much needed for our daily life. So it was good that this sloka was pointed out. God will not give me a pain which I cannot bear. Only the ignorance of my capacity to bear makes me feel miserable. So I pray to Him, I cry to Him, I appeal to Him, give me the strength to bear this. Alternate is when I lead a comfortable life, luxurious life, even a slight discomfort for the body we cannot. But suppose we go through rough and tough life, it is easy. With that bhavana, you should look at the creation in and around us. Then we will be able to understand, certain people when the nurse or the doctor goes with the injection, they feel miserable. No? One of our ashram devotees, he was having this, sugar. So we said we will check. So when we went to give a prick, 50-year-old person, he said no, like this. You have to give a prick, then the blood comes, then you show it to the meter, then automatically you get the reading. But even a small prick is unbearable. Because they have not applied their mind, they have not been conditioned to that. Whereas we are all doing it almost every day now. Any prick. So that means God has given us this capacity to bear, which we have to, through practice, through mentally conditioning. The other day we were reading about the last moments of Bhagavan Ramana. What a pathetic situation, it has been. But he did not, he was having pain, but he was able to endure the pain. Luckily now Google Baba gives all these in detail. Last days of Bhagavan's life, if you put, you will get the entire thing. So now then we understand, not only for Mahatmas, anybody, we have all seen, in our childhood days we were in Wayanad, very much we used to observe the tribes there. They don't go to doctor, they work in the field, they get injury, they fall down, so many things will happen, but they don't make any fuss about it. They have some herbal remedies and then they do it. Practically we have seen. When they were cutting the firewood with the axe, it slipped, and on the one part of the leg, it went and hit. You and I will be definitely crying, making such a. But there we found he left it, immediately went near some plants, the leaf, he took it, then immediately smashed it. The juice came, applied the juice, tied it with another leaf, back to work. Not that the pain is not there. Bearing, titiksha. So each one can infer in whatever way they can. Only people who have been in cities it may be difficult for them because such experiences such type of they would not have seen in their life. Because we all come from village area, there have been umpteen number of instances where we have seen this with our own eyes. But those who are in city, right from the childhood, they may not have this facility to watch. Okay, then the next sloka was, what was that? Seventh. That is 7th chapter, 7th sloka. Seventh chapter, 7th sloka. Matta? Matta paradaram nanyadu Kinjidasti dhananjaya Mayi sarvamidam prodam Sutre maniganayiva. Beyond me, there is nothing higher. All this is strung in me like a row of pearls on a thread. There is nothing higher than myself. The infinite pure consciousness which you call Brahman. The explanation for this sloka will become clear only when we have some idea about consciousness, awareness. Which is our true being. These words are now coming from because of the consciousness. Consciousness is a thing which cannot be explained through words. You remember when in one of our vision we brought out the talk between Janaka and what is his name? Shuka and Janaka. So when, for example, anyway, forget about it. Suppose on an Amavasi day at 12 o'clock midnight, when there is pitch dark, when it is silent, but to see any object we need a light. But to know that we are sitting, we don't need a light. There is a light within. And that light within is called the consciousness. The beingness that I am alive. No? These are all the words only through which we can go near that. So the entire thoughts are there because the consciousness is there. Infinite pure consciousness that ultimate reality. Beyond that, there is nothing. Matta paradaram na anyadu. Beyond that, there is no other thing. And it is like Sutre Maniganaiva. Mai sarvam idam prodam Sutre Manigana. The whole universe is strung in me like pearls in a string. That string runs through all the pearls to make a garland. You cannot see the string, you see only the pearls. That string is me, the Antaryami. The one that is in the heart of all being, extremely subtle, not visible to the senses. Mai sarvam idam prodam. This manifested universe, we have this teaching in Vedanta that makes a tremendous difference. The universal outlook of Indian culture comes from this teaching. We can see a human being from outside. You can judge him or her from his color, height, many other variable attributes. They are all visible. But there is one invariable, invisible attribute in all individuals in the world. What is that? That thread, the thread that runs through all of them, the divine inner self, then we are all one. So judge a person from that point of view. Papa puts it in simple language. Universal love and service based upon the vision of divinity in everybody. So Sutre Maniganaiva, by that every day morning we offer the flowers, and suppose somebody is leaving, there is a tradition here. If known to them, they will give a garland. There is no difference between a single flower and a garland, but anyhow, that has been the tradition. So when the garland is given, it is all flowers in a garland. The thread is not seen. But that is the one which unites everything and makes it a garland. The moment the garland is given, the idea must be, if Mataji had introduced, probably the idea must be that I should remember. I am leaving today, I must remember my ashram life. I must know this truth, that everybody is Mai sarvam idam prodam Sutre Maniganaiva. Now that we are talking, we suddenly strikes to us, it might be. Otherwise there is no difference, Patram Pushpam Balandoyam, even if one leaf, one flower, it is equal. When suppose Lord is sitting on the balance of this side, and if we put with bhakti one leaf, one tulsi leaf, that is enough to balance it. So it is not that a garland is necessary for that. So if we start singing, if it had started by Mataji, then there must be some reason behind it. One day you will start realizing about Sutre Maniganaiva. So at the time of leaving, I should know this is what the take-home message for me from ashram. Because everywhere he is all-pervading. We have been asked by our master Param Pujya Papa to see the divinity in everybody. So though there is a garland, there is a thread uniting the entire flower, then it is called garland. So all these thoughts might arise. It might be one of the reason, or it may be our own thinking. We don't know. But now that we become, if we start spreading this message, probably when the garland is given, that person will remember. Otherwise it is sentimental, Person who gives and the person who receives, there is sentimental satisfaction, emotional level satisfaction. But far, far from that, now when we think about it, yes. Not that the other one is there, but this also gives this idea. Sutre Maniganaiva. So consciousness is the thread. Because the moment I am not conscious of it, the whole world is not before me. When I am in deep sleep, I am not conscious of this world. One of ashram devotees who have been staying here for the past more than a decade, 2 days back she passed away, Taira Mami. So yesterday was the cremation. So the body will be brought, and then our practice is to put a garland. It is a way of showing our regard, our affection, our respect. Now we can add one more. Whether the body gets chopped or not, he is always there. Because even after a day or two, when the flower fades, still it is the garland. We remove it and we put it in a place where nobody puts their leg on it, foot on it. Because we have offered to a respectable person or to a deity, so we don't just throw it. But now when we look at it, we find that even then, if we don't remove the thread remains there, whether it is a faded flower or a fresh flower. So when we put the garland on the body of the person, then when he is alive, it's a way of symbol of respect. When the person is dead, it's also a symbol of respect, but we add one more dimension, that he is still there. The body goes back to its 5 basic elements, which again is a gift of God only. So like that, when we read Bhagavad Gita and try to link it with our day-to-day life, the interpretation gets changed and we get a clearer picture. Hereafter we don't do it as a ritual. No? This is one of the tangible gains of going deeper into Bhagavad Gita. It should be original. Mayi sarvamidam prodam sutre manigadaiva. Think about it. The divine reality is called by various names like Sutra, Sutratman, Anantaratman, Antaryami, the one inside all. We are all separate, but the thread unites all of us. We are all separate, but as citizens of India, we are all one, belonging to one republican state. Otherwise, physically speaking, we are separate. This was the profound discovery you find in the Upanishad. Antaryami Brahmana is the supreme note, the inner self of all, regulating everything from within. Take a cell what regulates a cell, something from within. You are trying to find out what is that thing. In genetics, we say it is DNA, RNA. These are all observable phenomena, but go deeper, still deeper if you can, and you will really find nothing but the divine as the inner energy that manipulates the process in that living cell, in the body, in the universe. And that is the one ultimate reality. That is why Papa put it in a beautiful word, subtle and mysterious energy, whom he named as Ram. The subtle and mysterious energy. We get a description here. You will find nothing but the divine as the inner energy that manipulates the process. What process? Take a cell. What regulates a cell? Something from within itself. You are trying to find out what is the thing. In genetics we say it is DNA, RNA. These are all observable phenomena. But go deeper, still deeper, and you will really find nothing but the divine as the inner energy that manipulates the processes in the living cell, in the body, in the universe. That is the one ultimate reality. That is the idea that Krishna expresses here in a small verse. He who exists in the earth but is within it, whom the earth does not know, whose body is the earth, who remaining in the earth regulates all the activities in the earth, that is the Antaryami, that is the immortal self. So many. So we need to develop a little bit of that. God is the supreme poet, and these poets have got a bit of that poetic vision of the divine. The greater the poet, the more he or she will be taken up into this divine vision. So now Sri Krishna goes on to expound this beautiful truth. So this sloka also reminds us of the common denominator. So when we see a garland, immediately let us not think only about the garland. And the first sloga and this sloga, Matra Sparshastu Kunteya Shitoshna Sugadukada Agama Payino Nityam. So the flower that is there in the fresh flower that is there in the garland, next day or evening it fades away, It is coming and going. It was beautiful, now you can't say it is beautiful. When somebody comes here from far off places and when they are very much particular to offer a garland at Papa's or Mataji's in Samadhi Mandir, they will go and put it. By the time we go at 6 o'clock in the evening for Arati, especially in this climate, it will have faded. Then we take it out, hand it over to somebody to place it under some place where nobody puts their foot. But still the guide is there in the form of the garland. So it is Sutre Manigana Iva, but at the same time it was fresh in the morning, now it is faded. So this is anitya. The freshness is not nitya. It is only temporal. Morning it will be fresh, by evening it goes. Every day we are offering. Religiously we are offering, knowing fully well that after some time it gets faded. So from tomorrow onward, when we go to the flower offering, let all these thoughts get. Bhagavad Gita is slowly entering into us. Not that we should place a garland, somebody would have placed a garland. You look at the garland. You look at the flowers now. During puja time, we worship it with so much of care. After some time, when it is taken away, that is why we try to ensure that we maintain the same spirit. Our reverence or respect to that object, flower, it doesn't get changed because of its losing the freshness. When we come out to the bhajan hall, when we see any flower or tulsi, normally everybody now we have found they will pick it up and put it where nobody puts their foot. Because it was prepared for, it was offered at the holy feet of our masters. So the bhavana is still there. Though outwardly it has faded, it has fallen. So many things, even we do some manana, it becomes very, very clear to us. And when we read slokas like this, it becomes more and more clearer. Every day we are doing agama payino nityam. It comes and goes. It is anityam. Yes. Now we understand. Morning it was fresh, evening it is not fresh. So the freshness is anitya. That aspect will be clear to us. Sutre Maniganaiva, that also we will try to understand. And then we try that there is one common thing in all of us. So spirituality means, or spiritual journey means to somehow identify this common thread in us. Just now he said yesterday Shraddha was telling, she is trying to concentrate on the vibration aspect. So even in inert matter, if you go through the microscope, you will find the vibrations. So here, in these explanations, Swamiji asks, who gives that vibration? Suddenly we remember Papa's word, energy. Energy is nothing but vibration. Like living cell. Energized. Suppose somebody's morale is very down. You say something by which it gets energized. A depressed mood gets energized. A dejected mood gets energized. This energy, where from it comes, it is there in all of us. So that is the one, that is the sutra. If these words are coming, it is because of that energy. If another one is hearing, it is because of that energy. So at least intellectually, let us try to understand that this energy is there in everybody. Because energy is there in me, that I know, no? And when I know that the energy is there, that is why I become an individual, I become an active individual. So same thing must be there in everybody. That is the common thing, Sutre Maniganaiva. So these two slokas are too closely connected with our daily life. One more sloka is there, no? 17th chapter, 15th. 17th chapter. 15th.
Chapter number 17.
15th.
Sloka number 15.
We have already dealt with it. Anudvegakaram vakyam. Satyam priyahitam cha yat. Swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva. Vanmayam tapa uchyate. You remember? Everybody has forgotten. Speech which causes no vexation, which is true, as also agreeable and beneficial, and regular study of the Vedas, these are said to form the austerity of speech. All forgotten. Periodical test should be there, examination should be there. Otherwise we all. Vak tapas. Austerity of speech. Austerity of speech. Nobody get vexed because of us, our talk, number one. It should be Priyam. Priyam means?
Pleasant.
Pleasant, okay. Loving. Hitam. It should be beneficial. Then Satyam. Truthful. Swadhyaya Abhyasanam. By continuously going through the scriptures, then what happens? Automatically our speech becomes austere. What is pleasant? Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. Speak which is really pleasant. Do not speak truth which is unpalatable to the listener, because it would otherwise cause suffering to that person. Though a thing is true, do not say it out, since it is apriyam or unpleasant. Though we are exhausted, dealt with this. When whatever is sweet and good for the people, which is truthful, which is for the welfare of all, only utter such words. This human tongue is the abode of the goddess of speech, Saraswati. That is the theory in India. So you have to tell every child, make your speech of this nature. That which is truthful, that which is agreeable, that which is beneficial. That is good discipline for our children today. If things are bad today, it is because we never cared. Acha, this one-maya tapas, when we come to the practical level, many people will say it is impractical. Because many a time in the family, profession and society, we may have to say the truth. But that truth can be conveyed in a loving manner, you know. Again, if we go through our experience, or if we have observed something keenly, we will be able to get clarity. How do we make it pleasant, you know? 100% may not be possible. But still, to a very great extent, it might be possible. Priyam hitam. When the relationship between two individuals have been established, even if we say something, they will not mistake, you know. Because they know it is always, he is always a beneficiary. Sorry. He is always the benefactor. He has only love, care and concern for me. If that is there, even if it is put it in an unpleasant way, nobody gets wounded. They immediately see the individual who becomes priyagaram. Outwardly they may be rough and tough, crude, blunt. But we know that person is 24 carat. So we will not mistake him. We will not, because the motive will be very clear. No? He has no self-interest, he is not biased. But at the same time, he may not be presenting it in the presentable way, probably. But the heart is gold. So we have seen such people reacting, nobody mistakes them. So then when we apply this, that means the priyagaram, hitagaram, satyam, all these things are there in him, that the other party knows. So it doesn't disturb them. We have seen two brothers. One is blunt. The other one, we observe all these formalities, a little bit of what do you call, soaping will be there, observing formalities, protocol. The other one diametrically opposite. But the elder brother has great regard for the younger brother, and whatever younger brother says, he will do it. Because he knows the inner content, So when suppose a trying moment came and we had to be there in that spot, and he will immediately ask, what did younger brother say? And then if he says that, there won't be any question. But the other man is full, blunt, absolutely blunt. But so that also we have seen, Vanmaya tapas. So then we can interpret, when the motive is good, when he is selfless, nobody will mistake the bluntness or the roughness in the language used. So either we should be very gentle, it should be pleasing as far as possible. If that is not possible for us, our nature is like that, we should never be compromising on this selflessness, compromising on straightforwardness, arjavam, simple, humble, but at the same time blunt. We have seen, not that we have to copy, but all these things become clearer and clearer to us, and God will prompt us as to how we should react. So from our level, until we have not purified our mind, we have to go by this Vanmaya tapas. When once that purification is already done, then probably nobody will mistake. They know that it is always Priyagaram only Hitagaram only Satyam. The only thing is, it may not be coming out with that, what do you call it? Mardavam, softness. So, Manasa Tapa. Vanmaya tapas. Next is, next sloka, if we contrast, it is all interlinked. Manaprasadam saumyatvam, maunam atma vinigraha. So serenity of mind, kindliness, silence, self-control, honesty of motive, this is called the mental austerity. So many a time the words become an expression of your mental purity. It is not because of arrogance, but it is because of their straightforwardness. Many a time their expression may not be palatable. So we should not condemn anybody, When we go through these slokas, variety is God places before us. But never judge anybody straight away. Behind that roughness, yesterday we were reading one portion, whether it is relevant or not, anyway it is nice to hear. We were thinking about death of Tailamami, and then so many things came out. Oh, it is not in this, No, coconut. Coconuts belong to two categories: green coconut and ripe coconut. The green coconut, the kernel is attached to the shell. If you scoop the kernel, a little shell also comes along with it. That is our ordinary state of mind. We are attached to the body. Anything happening to the body will affect the self as well, and vice versa. But take the ripe coconut, we will hear the kadagada sound of the copra within when we shake the coconut. The kernel is separated from the shell. This is the example for spiritual realization. Coconuts belong to two categories: the green and the ripe one. In the green, the kernel is attached to the shell. If you scoop, especially the tender coconut, the kernel is attached. So you scoop, a little shell also will come along with it. That is our ordinary state of mind. We are attached to the body. Anything happening to the body will affect the self as well, and vice versa. But take the ripe coconut, we will hear the kadagada sound of the copra within when we shake. Even we remember when we were in coffee plantation, when the coffee is plucked and when it is dried, it takes about normally 10 to 12 days. Then we go to the drying yard and take every from various size and do like this kadagada. That means whether the seed gets detached from the skin. That is the ripe state. There is test weight also. For 40 liters we should get 18 kilos, So but normally, otherwise when we put it in the huller, it will not get separated. So then the idea comes, when it gets detached, it becomes useful. Easy to separate. If it becomes attached, it is difficult to separate. So when a death takes place, suppose we think about it, because there is a shloka, Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya, navani grinnani naroparani, tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani, anyani samyadi navani dehi. As the embodied person throws away a worn out dress and puts on a new one, so does the embodied self discard worn out bodies and adopt other new ones. So when we see the death of a person, if we remember, why we remembered, when Panditji passed away in 1964, evening, on those days there was no TV. Then the President of India, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, spoke to the nation. We were all hearing it, anticipating, because everybody was shaken. Panditji was dearest to everybody, the first Prime Minister of India. 17 years he has been Prime Minister. So he quoted this sloka. We all remember this. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya. So that means it gives us soothing effect. Not that we have lost him forever. We have lost his body, which is subject to decay and death. But the ideal he represented, when we remember him, he is before us. So as the embodied person throws away a worn out dress and puts on a new one, so does the embodied self discard worn out bodies and adopt their new ones. So whenever the wearing clothes becomes old, one quietly throws away the old clothes. That is, that means they have the premonition. I have to change the clothes. When your mother said, put the ashes there, premonition is there. Taila Mami called me and told, don't call my children, they are in United States, they will have to travel all of them, don't worry. You put the tirtham, I put the tirtham. I said, you light the fire, that's all. That is enough for me. Then I gave the tirtham, stayed there. Then I said, I don't think mommy, the time has come. And she survived for 2 more days. And then she quietly passed away. Every time, minimum twice in a week, she used to come in an auto rickshaw and she will put a check post in our Samadhi Mandir. Somewhere she will park the auto rickshaw. So after we go to the round, somewhere we have to go and meet her. Spend about 1 minute, that is enough. That is enough for her. And then she will go. Religiously, she can't come, get down from the auto, go anywhere. It's not possible. But she will still somehow get into the auto from her room, come to the Samadhi Mandir, stay there until the Arati is taken, and then we have to go and meet her. That's all. So she had the premonition. So now we put 2 and 2 together. Shruti's mother also, on the day prior to her death, she telephoned her and said, I think the time is coming, so when I die, you take the immersion of the ashes should be done in Ganga. So that means, when we go through all those things, slowly we try to accept the reality. As the embodied person throws away a worn-out dress and puts on a new one, so does the embodied self discard worn-out bodies and adopt a new other one. So whether it is we don't know, outwardly we may think that it is green coconut, but inside it is ripe coconut. From the outer behavior we cannot, but in them they were developing the sadhana in such a way that there was detachment taking place. Otherwise they will say, you take me there, take me here. I want to be hospitalized, I am struggling. Nothing. There was no grumbling, there was no complaint, there was no desire, there was no full contentment was there. So that means the body has done its job, the body can no longer be retained, so the body has to be changed. They may not say these words. Lord Krishna tells us now. This is how I make them to change. So this also we wanted to share. Yesterday, immediately after the cremation, these are the thoughts that welled up in our heart. That means to analyze what is death. If we get more and more clarity on the word death, to some extent the detachment from the body will, which is what Mataji used to say, Deha Buddhi, Deha Buddhi, Deha Buddhi. So let us all try to remember all these. More of it tomorrow. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om.
Pranamas, Swami, pranamas.
Pranam, pranam. Namaskaram, namaskaram. Hari Om, Hari Om. Hari Om, Hari Om to everybody. Pranam.